All right, we're back for part 3. And in the last video, I showed you how you would need to update all these student names and teachers' last names, and that this code, every one of these cells is built to sort of automatically grab the right variables. And I even wrote the code in such a way that if this code right here got deleted, like somebody accidentally hit spacebar or something, you could just grab a neighboring code and drag it over and it would fix it. And let's see if that's true. Let's say I delete all these. In fact, what if I delete this whole row? If I built it right, I should be able to just grab an existing one and just drag it up and then drag this over. Whoops, went a little too far. Or I could just grab a whole row and just drag this up, and it should fix itself. So that's what all this $ stuff, because the way this works, Google Sheets, the code that this is written in, the $ means to hold it steady, no matter, it won't increment. So on the variables that I don't mind incrementing, for example, C will turn into D in the next, so that if I deleted all those and I just grab this, if I drag it over, it's going to update to D, but it's going to keep the 1 the same, because I want, for this cell, I want to grab C1. For this cell, I want to grab D1, and so on. So if I just drag this over, I've very carefully coded it so that if you accidentally delete a cell, you can easily fix it. For example, just to run this, beat this horse to death, so to speak, if I deleted that, I could fix it just by grabbing this and dragging it down. In fact, if you know this cell's good, you could just drag it like that, and that'll fix anything that's missing. All right, so so a moment ago, I tried out in part 2, I tried clicking on something over here, a hypothetical 7th grade team of teachers, and it led me to a different form. And what we need to do, I guess the easiest thing would be to, like for me, if I'm actually using this form right here, I could just grab really just this one cell. Should work if I just copy, Control-C, then I go over here and I paste. Notice how right when I paste, you'll see this code is different. Paste, see? Because it's now going to refer to the right form. So I'll drag this over, and then I'll might as well do it the whole row at a time. I'll drag this down, and now all of those should refer to the right, this same restroom tracker with Washington, Adams, etc. But it's going to throw an error because I don't see Quincy, Jackson, Buren, and Harrison in the list. But we can easily fix that. So I'm going to click. I also don't see Jelly Roll Morton as one of my students, right? If you scroll down here. And so I'm going through all these contingencies so that you understand how this works. That way you can modify it to your taste. So if I click this, it's going to take me to, yes, the correct form, but it's having a problem because it can't find the last name of this teacher, Quincy. So if I put Quincy in here, I got to hit the edit this form button and got to leave. If I put Quincy in there, it should work. I'm just going to click right here and copy, Control-C. That way I don't have to worry about spelling it right, because you could get frustrated if you spell it in any way wrong, it will have a problem. So that was one of the problems, is it couldn't find Quincy. The other problem is it couldn't find Jelly Roll Morton. So if I copy that and paste down here in the list of students, let's put it down here. And I think just to be safe, I'm going to make sure there's only one space between the first name and last name. Now I should be able to close it, and this, at least this, is going to work. Jackson still won't because he's not part of the teacher list yet. Oh, and restroom, is it not? Oh, because I put leaving. That's not what the form is looking for. That just shows how it's, it really is looking for whatever's in these cells. So I'm going to copy this over, and now it should find it. Click, bingo. Now let's go to the responses, and you can see Jelly Roll Morton. So that's how this works. It's actually, it was very difficult to build, but once you have it built, it's pretty easy to maintain. So McMars obviously won't, like it may find Quincy as the teacher, but it won't find McMars. But that can easily be fixed. You'll see now it found Quincy, it found restroom, but it's not finding McMars. So I'm going to have to edit once again. And now that you understand how this works, I'm simulating mistakes over and over. But once you there's a way to quickly automate this stuff, so it's easy to maintain. And let's just see now. I click this, and sure enough, it's working. McMars. And by the way, this is, as I said, this is the list of all. So this is all teacher entries, all students. And you'll notice the 8th grade list is shorter because it's only finding the people who have in common this teacher and that student. But in the 7th grade list, you'll see from that list, it's just showing the 7th graders who have been checked out to the bathroom. That way, 8th grade teachers can just check their list. If I'm Mr. Washington and Laserbeam keeps asking me, or let's say I'm Monroe. Monroe wants to, or let's say Laserbeam's asking Miss Monroe, can I go to the restroom? Miss Monroe jumps to this tab, sees that they just went in Jefferson's and Washington's class earlier. They can say, look, I think you're abusing the restroom. If you've got a real problem, can you please bring a note from home that, at least your parents are going to verify that you have a real bladder problem, which in that case would probably be fine. But this way, another handy thing about this for teachers is that if you have a student who is meeting up with another student regularly just to abuse the privilege of going to the restroom, you can start to see the patterns. So, yeah, so I guess that pretty well explains the connection as far as how to update this. There's a way to quickly get the student names. Let me see what I have here. I usually use a PDF exported from my grading program. I'll paste the PDF in here, and then you can say data, split text to columns. That way their first name, last name, and then if there's like date and grade and stuff like that, you can just delete those columns, right click, delete, so that you end up with just first name, last name, first name, last name, which actually before you delete the columns that have their grade, you'd want to make sure you gather all 8th grade names, paste them in here, and then all 7th grade names, have them separated out. And yeah, so that's how it works. And in the next video, I'll go in a little more depth of how this stuff works right here, how you could actually build this from scratch, just in case you're interested in that. Because like I said, if you're not interested in knowing how to code this thing, you can just take the template and modify the last names of teachers and put in the student list, and the thing will work. But it has to be connected to a real Google form. So I think maybe the next video really is a necessary step for you, because unless you're able to somehow make a copy of my templates and it still finds this form, but if it doesn't find that form, I want you to be able to fix it. I want you to be able to know how to alter this section right here so that it goes to whatever form you're using to set this up, right? So I'll see you in the next video.